on Africa's largest black nation to discuss sustainable ways of tackling insecurity in the African region. TVN was on ground to cover the opening ceremony, and the Chief of Defense Staff and other service chiefs were live on ground to declare the event open. Surprisingly, some members of the National Assembly have called Mr. President to sack the Chief of Defense Staff and other service chiefs. That we shall be discussing on this episode of Security In and Out. I am Austin Peacemaker. Let's go on a short break, and when we are back, we shall be taking some security news in the course of the week. In a bid to find sustainable solutions to African security challenges and to promote global alliance against terrorism, 60 countries' army officers have converged in Nigeria for the 2018 African Land Forces Summit. The summit, with the theme Unity in Strength Combating African Security Challenges, is organized by the U.S. Army African Command in partnership with the Nigerian Army to forge common approach to combating transnational crimes and also promote peace and security in the African region.
The 6th Africa Land Forces Summit being opened today is aimed at achieving a grand strategy for Africa and our allies. As we release the ambience of Nigeria and look forward to exciting deliberations of the 6th African Land Forces Summit, it is gratifying to recall that the 5th African Land Forces Summit 2017, held at Lilongwe in Malawi, provided an avenue for the United States Army Africa and other partners to collaborate and address African security problems.
We face complex, ever-evolving threats across the continent, from the rise of terrorist networks to the growing problems created by changes in the world's climate. Recognizing that no single country can address these challenges alone, alliances and partnerships have emerged. From the 6 Amazon countries fighting alongside Somali units to defeat al-Shabaab, to the combined efforts of Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, Mali, and Togo to ensure a peaceful handover of power in the Gambia last year. It is our hope that through events such as this summit, we can forge communications today that will allow for continued such shared efforts in the future.
The many regional partnerships we have across the continent are critically important to the security in Africa, which contributes to the security throughout the world. The U.S. Army is proud to join in security partnerships exercises with many of the nations. The U.S. Army in the United States is committed to working alongside our African allies and partners to strengthen our collective response to the challenges that we face today.
While opening the ceremony, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishaki, stated that the Nigerian Army stands in a good position to share his experience with other African armies in the fight against terrorism and other violent extremism.
I am confident that the choice of the Nigerian Army to co-host this August event is anchored on the commitment the force has displayed over time in ensuring global security, and recently the successes recorded against Boko Haram insurgency. I have no doubt that there are many lessons to be learned from the commendable effort of the Armed Forces of Nigeria in the fight against terrorism. The Nigerian Army stands in a good position to share its experiences and ideas which are relevant in the contemporary fight against violent extremists.
The summit, which will last for 4 days, is said to provide solutions and capabilities in ensuring African forces are operational and also promote intelligence sharing. It is also expected that the summit will provide various fora and sessions to interact with the hope to strengthening existing relations while also making new ones for peace and security in Africa and the globe. It was an amazing display at the demonstration exercise of the Nigerian Army. The demonstration, which is part of the events lined up in this year 2018 African Land Forces Summit, was said to be a sign showing Nigerian Army readiness in responding to threats, especially in raid and rescue operations.
The Nigerian Army had to evolve new concepts and doctrines in addition to existing ones in executing our operations in the Northeast against the Boko Haram terrorist group. A lesson that we've learned earlier on in the counterinsurgency operation emphasized the need to develop capacity and indeed capacity for rapid deployment.
Fielding questions from journalists, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, related how the demonstration reflects the current counterinsurgency operations in the Northeast.
This is what we are showing. It's what we had experienced in the Northeast that we are now demonstrating, that yes, we are capable of rapid deployment at very short notice, using the available supports that we have on the ground, both air as well as ground. You can see how quick the motorcycles were able to really move in, to support the troops that were rappelled by the helicopters.
Today's demonstration at the African Land Forces Summit has truly shown Nigeria's Army's capabilities and capacity in dealing with external threats and also other violent extremism that threaten our national unity. Austin Peacemaker Inaide, TVN News. You are still watching Security In and Out. Security In and Out is a program that discusses and highlights security news and happenings within the defense and security corridor, while also informing the general public in and out. As I said earlier, today we shall be looking at the call for the sack of the Chief of Defense Staff and other service chiefs. Looking at their impactful service they have rendered to the nation, we want to look at the topic, how justifiable is this call for the sack of the CDS and other service chief. Our guest is Eda Emmanuel Okoro. Eda Emmanuel Okoro is a public and security affairs analyst. He shall be doing justice to this topic.
My name is Elder Emmanuel Okoro. I am a public relations consultant.
Okay, looking at the level of services these security chiefs have rendered to the country so far, especially under this administration, will you then say that the call by some members of the National Assembly that they should sack, will you say it's justifiable?
No, it's their opinion. The opinion is that of the national members of the National Assembly. However, they have no such power to sack any of the security chiefs.
Yeah, they're Mr. President.
Yes, the security.
Is it justifiable?
No, you cannot justify it because number one, it is clear to us that we have a major security problem.
As a country?
Yeah, as a nation. Those four men, they don't have all the control of information and intelligence. What it talks about, that's why they said, if we can't do it here, let's look for international assistance. That's the reason, because those four men who are in charge of our security apparatus, they're overwhelmed. Let's be honest. They're overwhelmed. The president himself, I can tell you this, he's extremely concerned because without peace and security, we're not going to have 2019 elections. And I've warned, we must take it as a fire outbreak now and deal with it before it bursts. So we are thinking right now, the way things are going, we must do more than we are doing now. Everybody, both the police, both the politicians, in every local government, we shall have our eyes open.
Is it apart from calling for their sack?
No, their sack is not the end. If you sack those four men, you're not giving a solution.
So you are saying that the CDS and other service chiefs, saying that they are able and capable of maintaining our internal security.
Let me say this now. Nigeria's military is one of the best in Africa. We have been known to be very good in the United Nations. They know about it. America says the last the summit happening in Gwagwalada was there. America says we are taking the summit to Nigeria because they have the power.
The African Land Forces Summit.
That's right. It told the world that Americans want Nigeria to become the bastion of African democracy. Our military is overwhelmed by the kind of security problems they're having now, but we have a most competent military. No, Africa, you know the day we moved into Gambia, Yaya Jammeh was told that he has only 14 hours to live there. Before 14 hours, he was airborne because the Nigerian army closed in on him and told him he had no other exit except the negotiation he did, and he left. That told the world that Nigeria is not a place you can play with. We have one of the most solid military technologies in the world. Our men are sophisticatedly trained. The only problem is they are now redoing, without the effort of the Nigerian military. These boys in Sambisa Forest would have overtaken Northeast. Without them, they were undertaking 20 local governments until the Nigerian military came and cleared them and made sure that not one local government occupied by Boko Haram. They have been gallant. They have shown gallantry. In other countries like Somalia, Yemen, Sudan, many of those terrorist groups have occupied those territories and put their flags and put their stamp of authority in those areas. Our military, may God bless them, they made sure that these people who are occupying those areas cannot go further. That's why they are now doing what we call rapid destruction of weak elements. They can't face the military. The military power now is potent. To occupy 17 local governments in the Northeast, and then all of a sudden you have no base. You come and use small girls to kill people. You go back. That's what the army has done to them, just keeping them within check. And it can only be done by an army that is gallant. If you go to Sambisa Forest, it's larger than Abuja, if you know what we mean. Yeah. Any day you like, travel there. Sambisa Forest is as large as the whole FCT. That's why it's called Sambisa Forest. If you go there now, the army has tried to clear miles of the rebel-held area so that you can see them popping up from where they can be. And then the Air Force is bombarding them. Yeah. So superior forces are encountering those terrorist boys, and that's why they're talking about the young girls who don't understand. To come do small damage here. You know what happened when we were here in the Nyanya? These boys entered the police headquarters in Nigeria. It made news in New York. The terrorists entered police headquarters. But
today,
no, you can't do that anymore. They can't. Everybody talks about Nigerian army as if they were just a group of schoolboys. They are a competent bunch of well-trained soldiers who can stand on their own in every theater of war.
You have heard it all from Elder Emmanuel Okoro, doing justice to the topic. How justifiable is the call for the sack of the CDS and other service chiefs, looking at the impactful services they have rendered to the nation. As Nigerians, it's time for us to reflect on our priorities and what we need to do at the right time. That is how we call it a wrap on this episode of the program, Security In and Out. I am Austin Peacemaker. Do stay out of trouble. Security is first and always, and hate speech is not free speech.